Good morning, everyone. All right, we
Good
are
morning.
live. Good morning. Good morning. So for anyone that's out there watching us, it's Jerlene, and she's live with the most amazing group of people that she's ever worked with. This is, I would say, like a special edition. I normally don't go live in the morning, yet this was so crucial to have this conversation today on June 29th. So I would like to begin by just anyone who's watching us, if you're watching us, please give us a thumbs up, put a note in the comments. Thank you all for being so patient. Had some technical difficulties this morning with getting through, getting logged into the app. And thank you for folks that are watching who were patiently watching for us to go live. So again, it's Jerlene, live, Talk of the Town. This morning, the conversation is now what? 3 years ago, Long Beach Unified School District entered into a settlement agreement with some community organizations and community stakeholders, making a commitment to adjust some things. And I've had the most amazing opportunity over these last 3 years to work in community with parents and some amazing policy folks to make some changes in education here in Long Beach. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to ask everyone to introduce yourself, just give your name, the organization that you're with, and your role. So I'm Jerlene. This morning, I'm moderating this conversation. My role in this work has been that of a parent, a little bit of an agitator, and definitely a committee member serving in different forms to move the work ahead. So I'm going to pass it over to Nicole.
Good morning. Thanks, Jerlene, for having us on today. My name is Nicole Gon-Ochi. I'm an attorney at Public Advocates. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and my role is to support the parent leaders and community-based organizations here in their fight for equity and justice in Long Beach. I'll pass it over to Angie.
Good morning. Thank you, Jerlene, for bringing us on today. My name is Angie Salazar. I'm the Director of Education Equity at the Children's Defense Fund, California. My pronouns are she and her. And I have similar role as Nicole to uplift the voice of parents and stakeholders and to foster collaboration to grow our power as community. And I'll pass to Lilia. Lilia, you're on mute, I think.
Yes. Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Lilia Ocampo, and thank you, Yarlene, for inviting us this morning. I am a parent with kids in the district. I am also a community member, and I'm not representing any organization today, but I'm here with you with the same purpose, to help uplift parents and education. I'll pass it to Kim.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay? Yes. All right. I'm Kim. I am also a parent in the district. My son is currently in high school, so we've been in the district for a while. I'm also a member of Black Lives Matter Long Beach, so here in both roles. So great to be here.
Well, good morning. Thank you all for joining us. We are missing we have two interns. I don't know if intern is the correct term, interns that are backstage right now helping with some admin stuff. And two of our other members, Martha Coda, like our champion in this work. I think Martha may be watching us online live right now. Martha Coda is the executive director of Latinos In Action. She was not able to get online with us this morning, but none of us would be here right now without Martha. So definitely giving Martha props. If you're out there watching us, Martha, thank you. And keep us in line if we get out of line. And also Mariela Salgado, parent, businesswoman. I know she had clients this morning. She's going to jump in as soon as she's able to. So we're going to get this started. So 4 years ago, or what, 2017, 4 years ago, a UPC complaint was filed, I guess, against the Long Beach Unified School District from a group of community stakeholders. Nicole, can you just share just a little bit? What does that mean? What is a UPC complaint? Like, what is that? And how does that work? Because you're Public Advocates was the filing firm. I guess that's the correct term.
Sure, yeah, yep. We were the council representing Children's Defense Fund and Latinos in Action and filing a complaint against Long Beach Unified. And the uniform complaint process, the UCP, is not like a court process, it's an administrative process. And one of the kind of weird things about it is first you file your complaint with the entity you're complaining about. So first we filed it against Long Beach, and then we filed one with LACO, the county, which oversees Long Beach, and ultimately with the California Department of Education.
Okay. So this complaint was filed. Oh, go ahead.
One thing I do want to say, though, is this uniform complaint process is designed for anyone, for parents, students, families, teachers, to actually use without a lawyer. So even though we represented these groups in filing a UCP, you can actually do it on your own. So I guess I just want your listeners out there to know that you also can file this on your own if you want, if you have an issue with the district.
Okay, I can see a future conversation ahead to talk about why one would file that. Angie, can you share some of the what is the role that CDF has played in this? And can you share a little more historical context of what happened after 2017?
Thanks, Darlene. I want to also just make sure to uplift the two parents who signed this complaint back in 2017. That was Marina Roman, and Guadalupe Luna, who were the two parent clients. And it's just kind of special that, what my role is, I guess I'll start there. Similar to you, Darlene, really agitator in this case, right? We had been monitoring the implementation of LCFF since the early days in Long Beach, and saw some things that, just didn't seem right in terms of local control from the community perspective, right? And also just like how to hold the district accountable to also recognize all the experiences in Long Beach, particularly the experiences of high needs students. So was grateful when we got support from public advocates to do the analysis of the budget, of the local control accountability plan, which is the strategic plan that goes with the budget, and called out the district for the misuse of funds that we saw, and I think our role generally has been to call out the district, right? I think it can be hard, especially when you do that publicly. I want to uplift and recognize that there were repercussions for some of these individuals. I'll name Marta specifically. Some doors closed after she signed this complaint. It's not popular to do that sort of thing in Long Beach. It's usually, and really not just Long Beach, but I think in general systems have a hard time going through their challenges and really being transparent about their challenges in a very public way. So I think our role has been to support parents who want to do that, who are interested in that, who want to advocate for their own children and also for the children of all Long Beach, and not dismiss those experiences and clump them with the average, because the average is usually good, right? But it's like the average really hides the disparities. So our job has always been to deconstruct that.
Wow. So I came into the work. I was familiar with when the complaint was filed. I was working for a organization that was doing some work in Long Beach, in specific around education, and the org was invited to participate. Yet I know that org and some other organizations, and the hesitation was that they were, I don't want to say fearful, but they were hesitant to do so because of the possible effects of that. So I'm going to pop over to Kim and Lilia, who Lilia's been in this work for a moment. Lilia, can you share with us, when did you come into this? When when did you connect with this work, this specific work? Because then we're going to talk about what that work is in just a moment.
Thank you, Yarlene. I connect with this work since I think at the beginning of the pandemic. I was invited to this group. I knew about the complaint before, but the organization I was with at the time didn't participate. So I just knew that was going on, but didn't join until just before the pandemic started. And I have been participating since there.
Thank you, Lilia. I've been seeing you for so long. It seems like you've been here forever. Dr. Kim Tabari, how long have you been connected into this specific work right here?
Well, I went to a couple of community forums in 2019, I believe, and I was really inspired by all the work that you all do and all of the data that was collected and shared with community, and really saddened by the results. And, on the side, BLM Long Beach focus hasn't really been on education. It's been really on police violence in the city. And I as someone that, loves education and loves all things about it, recognize that like our Black children are really struggling in the city, right? For years and years, whether we had a Black board member or not, those children's grades were still struggling. And I really, really was a little bit frustrated at seeing all these accolades that the city of Long Beach was getting, the district in particular, about, their excellence in academics. Meanwhile, 70% of our Black kids are failing, and it just was not connecting for me. And so at the beginning of the pandemic, I decided that I thought that it would make more sense to join a coalition, even though BLM Long Beach does have its own conversations with the district from time to time. But being part of this group, I think that there is power in number. And I think that together we are stronger. And so I am here representing Black students and speaking up for all Black students, but I'm also representing Pacific Islander students. I'm also representing Latinx students. I'm also representing Asian students, right? Because at the end of the day, all our students need to thrive. And so, yes, I want to be unapologetic in my demands for Black students because they are most impacted. But I also, and I also want to lift up support for all students in all different areas.
Thank you, Dr. Kim Tavari. Parent Mariela Salgado has joined us. Mariela, can you just take a few moments, introduce yourself? Who are you? What is your role in this work? And then go ahead and let us know how long you've been connected to this specific group of work.
Thank you, Jarlene. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Good. So, yes, Mariela Salgado. I serve as a Parks Commissioner for the city. I'm a parent of 2 elementary age students, and I'm also a participant of the District Community Advisory Committee. I've been involved in this work. I attempted to be involved in this work prior to my oldest getting into kindergarten about 3 years ago. But since she got into kinder, I've been advocating for our children. For me, much like Dr. Kim Tambari, I'm personally experienced what a good quality education gives in terms of for your own future and possibilities, that it saddened me 30 years later that I felt there's still so many inequities in our schools. And so that's kind of why I'm involved in the work, and I'm here for all of our children, kids with disabilities, kids with different needs, higher needs. I think all of our children deserve a quality education. And so for me, it's important to partake in this work in any role that I can push forward. For me, most of it has to do around transparency and, having parents have access to that information so that they can make appropriate decisions for their school side or for their children or for any subgroup that they feel they check off, or, many groups they check off, because I think it's important for parents to know that information to make good decisions for their kids.
Thank you, Mariela. I know that we connected by attending superintendent community forums, and that was how we connected with each other. And so I know it's the last year of you being involved in this work has just been like amazing. And I know you've for parents that are out there watching, and you're like, how do parents have time to do this? I know for myself personally, Mariela and I, and even with Kim and Lilia, we've kept each other grounded in the work. Our accountability, although we're holding the district accountable and we're accountable to our children, we have been holding each other accountable in this work. So I know this last year, the pandemic, I mean, we went hard, but we keep talking about the work. Nicole or Angie, can you share with us just the areas that this settlement called for? Because out of that is how this group formed. I know one of the areas was community forums to engage community. And that's how I was invited into this specific space. But either Nicole or Angie, can you just tell us some of the things that the settlement called for because we keep talking about the work, what that work is?
Sure, I can start off, and I do want to acknowledge too that the work began right before the settlement, and I'd love for Angie to talk about that. But I'll talk very specifically about what the settlement called for. So it had three main things. Well, actually, it had five things. Number one were community forums, and the purpose of that was to promote engagement in the budget and the LCAP, and to increase understanding and awareness of what the district was doing with its money and how it was doing by its kids, its highest need kids, right? The second thing was that it was supposed to increase, or actually, I guess I should say decrease, the counselor-student ratio at the highest need high schools. Third, it was supposed to provide additional after-school tutoring to the highest need school sites. Fourth, it created the family resource centers, which you've probably heard the district talk a lot about, but that came out of the settlement agreement actually. And then the fifth thing was this high school readiness program for 3 high-need middle schools, and that was supposed to prepare students sort of in their social emotional well-being and sort of skills to enter high school. So those were the 5 things that the settlement called for. And then I'll turn it over to Angie if she wants to talk a little bit more about sort of like the broader view of this work.
I think in a broader sense, what we also wanted to get from the settlement was, increase in funding for high needs students, which we've been calling for, years prior. Other groups I'll name that are part of, Khmer Girls in Action, Californians for Justice, some other youth serving groups in Long Beach have been calling for shifting funds away from like security and school police over to positive approaches like restorative practice and other social emotional supports. So we really found that with the settlement, we really try to ground ourselves in what has the community been asking for through this LCAP process that we haven't been able to get, that, it's kind of been those recommendations that sort of been dismissed, that we can ask for right now. And so that's why we focused on sort of these academic and social emotional learning supports. And we found some challenges in the implementation. I think what happens with local control is that it's so local that it's like at the school level. And so you could have, like 30 different tutoring programs because each school determines how to do their own tutoring program. Now, the good part about that is that, when you have enough funding, you can really tailor the program to meet the needs of those specific students. But when you don't have enough funding, or when, there's just like a lot of competing interests, we're not sure how effective the tutoring was in the years that it ran. I think another complication that we saw was, COVID-19. It interrupted services. Some of the services were not as utilized as they could have been because of school closures. And so we're really still figuring out the impact of what these services, the impact these services made on students. As we're kind of nearing the end of the settlement, we're assessing that.
You're on mute, Darlene.
I'll never get that part right. Kim, Lilia, Mariela, we've all had an opportunity to work with CDF and public advocates. From any of you, how has their involvement, or any other community organization that we've been involved in this work, what has their impact been for you? Or what have you seen out of this relationship with public advocates and CDF? Somebody hop in.
I guess I'll go since I'm off mute. Lilia, go ahead, Lilia. Go ahead.
Thank you, Kim. Yes, well, for me, it's been actually, I've been impacted for being allowed to participate on. I started with BHC, Long Beach Forward, and first with Laura Merrifield, then Cindy, we miss Cindy. and I still continue working with them, with Nubia. That gave me a lot of experience, and we used to go all the time, advocate and speak in front of the school board. So for me, they have been key to my engagement. So, go ahead, Kim.
I would say that the relationship with the public advocates and the Children's Defense Fund here has been so amazing and so invaluable, right? They really help anchor the conversation, help anchor us in our just in our planning, in our organizing, in our just collective responsibility. I think that they bring a lot of strength to the team, and they also really listen, right? They really, it could be very easy for them to sort of take over the situation as the professionals in the space, right? Quote unquote professionals. But, I think they bring their heart into the space much more often than their heads. And so it allows them to lead with empathy, to lead with compassion. And I feel like we have a true shared leadership, which is really hard to achieve in a coalition space, right? Folks have their egos, they get all like, I'm this and I'm that. And it really doesn't serve, a group well, right? So group dynamics to me are really, really important when you're doing coalition work and work in service of your community. And I think both Nicole and Angie do a really good job at being strong anchors and really listening to us and letting us lead and, giving us the tools that we need, supplying us with data, supplying us with examples and, just role playing, walking through how we talk to the district, walking through our presentations, for example. So I think that's one of the key successes to this group.
Agreed. And if I may add, it helps to have some legal arm to the group, because the truth of the matter is sometimes you, as parents, and I'm sure many parents either who are listening or who will be watching this, sometimes it takes the legal system to pursue some action. And I think it helps the group collectively when we have supports that can help us with the analysis or for anything else that we may pursue.
If you allow me, I don't want to go without saying that I know I didn't forget. It's just the nerves got the best of me. But of course, Angie and Nicole, they're being a very important part on this part of our work. They support us and they give us all the information that we need to know in order to do a better job and to know what way we can go, like a guidance, a strong guidance. Thank you.
You all have worked with me long enough to know that I can get a bit emotional sometimes. And working with you all has been one of the greatest experiences for me in community. And, you know, Lilia, when you said key to my engagement, and Kim, when you said heart, we are definitely working with professionals that work with their heart. And then Mariella, legal system. So one thing that, you know, it was, we made like the last minute decision, we were going to do this conversation today because today is June 29th. And tomorrow, this settlement that we have been talking about, it expires. And so again, like, so the question is like, so what now? What now? We know we've gotten to this, I mean, CDF and PA has guided us to this point. They have trained us, they have prepared us, they've supported us. And then community, we've come together as parents and we've kept each other accountable in this work. What is next? Yet, before we talk about what is next, let's talk about last week for a real quick moment. So one of the reasons this conversation even exists is because of the LCFF, the LCAP here in Long Beach. And last week, Long Beach Unified approved its budget, which include LCAP recommendations from this group. Who wants to dive in there and talk about like what was accomplished, what was not accomplished? How do you feel? And then let's talk about what's next off of that conversation. So whoever chooses to go. Mariella, you're on mute.
I'll go ahead and, oh, there's my munchkin. She's making an appearance. I think one of the things that was accomplished was to have a little bit more transparency on where some of these funds are going. The district is moving forward with, I think, a distinct page or a separate page. Sorry, y'all. And so I think that's important because I really want to make sure that parents have access to that information, but also that we continue to push for that kind of transparency at the school site level. Because those decisions are being made per site. The other thing that I think it lacks, and it's to me has been crucial, is that not all of our kids are neurotypical. In fact, that's a growing population of students with IEPs. And so I think a lot of enrichment programming or curriculum is important in our school sites. And so when I heard that we were getting a lot of a little over 400 million in COVID relief funds, sorry. You know, I was excited to see where those funds would go to our children to create more educational opportunity. So for me, and one of the things that I think there's still room for improvement is adding enrichment to our students, because not every child learns the same. And so being able to bring them into the classroom with arts, music, science, other things that can pique their interest is, I think, key, because it allows for them to learn a subject matter in a different way. So that's my little tidbit.
Kim,
I want to jump in for a quick second here. You know, the budget is passed every year, and so it's passed this year like any other year, except that this year I felt like there was more specificity around where the budget dollars were going, right? So for example, a win for the community is that funds were allocated for language access and ESL learners. I don't know if that's ever happened before, right? I know for sure a win for the community is to have initially $750,000 for Black student achievements, right? Both of those are unprecedented. I don't know that has ever happened before, ever. Another win for the community is that Long Beach Unified School District removed all police officers from their schools and is investing in restorative justice solutions, whatever that looks like. I know they're working that out, right? I know we still have to push back against some of the policing culture, right? May not be police officers, but the culture of expulsion and suspension of kids of color may still be there. So, you know, we want to be mindful of, yes, we have that win that there are no cops in schools, but has that changed the attitudes of the folks that are there with policing mentality, right? a win for us was that we built great relationships with many of the individuals that hold power within the district. And we are in conversation about our children. We're in conversations, about other family needs. So I think those are really, really great wins to acknowledge. And we have to hold their feet to the fire. And as Mariela mentioned, we have to make sure that each school site is transparent in what they're doing with their allocation of the dollars, right? So there's no one size fits all for all schools. One school will do this, another school will do that. So there's all of these differences, right? In the wealthier areas of Long Beach, the other side of the tracks, right? Schools are doing amazing things. And we look over in another school on, let's say, North Long Beach, and we're like, there's no X, Y, or Z at this school. Why is that, right? So every school has the ability to decide, do I buy brand new laptops for everybody? That's a decision that the principal will make, right? So your school side council is important. And if I can say one last thing to parents, join your school site council. It might mean leaving work early on a particular day, once or twice a month. It is worth it. We have to get involved in where the money is being allocated, or else guess what? Folks do whatever they want, right? I sat on a school site council. I was the only person that voted no on many things, right? I mean, it still passed, but I still voted no on things, right? Because I understood what that meant at the end of the day. So, stay engaged, keep fighting, and show up for your students.
Wow. Thank you, Kim and Mariela, for giving us a snapshot of last week. Nicole and Angie, how do you feel? How do you feel? Like, how do you feel? Not like what the facts are. I mean, it's factual for you, but how do you feel after being advocates in this work, after what you saw last week?
I can start. I think the number one feeling of many things is really gratitude. One of the other wins that has been kind of ongoing has been the fostering of meaningfully engaging strategies, right? And that's what the forums were all about. That was about testing out another way of engaging parents, another way of having a meeting, another way of looking at a serious document like a budget, which parents have the capacity to investigate, right, with support and the right to investigate. And I also want to give a lot of love to Jerlene, because I feel like without Jerlene, those forums not have been the same, may not have happened. So thank you, Jerlene, for keeping us going. And you asked earlier, I'm kind of using your questions now, I hope that's okay, but what do we do now? I think it's a moment for reflection. It's a moment to really sit with these victories, these like concrete material victories, the dollars, the information, the transparency, and the LCAP, but also, what we've built, this process that we've built, these practices that are better than where we were 3 years ago, right? And so really reflect on that. Also reflect on the challenges. What are some things that we didn't get, and what pivots do we need to make as a group, and how do we grow our tent, right? So I'm excited about what's to come after June 30th, and just really grateful.
And you, Nicole?
Yeah, thanks for this question, Jerlene. I do work with my head, I think, a lot more, but this is how I feel, honestly, and only having been in this work about 2 years, right, is I feel inspired by you all, because I have worked with community as a lawyer for over a decade, and I have never worked more directly with such powerful people, where it actually does feel like, I am playing the role I want to play, which is to support other people, to support actual stakeholders in, achieving what it is that they want to achieve. So if you all feel good and inspired by what happened with the budget last week, then I feel great, and in terms of moving forward, for me, it's always about implementation, I think, because you can write anything down, but whether it's actually happening or not, like that's what we need to focus on. So I'm really looking forward to harnessing, collectively the same power that this group has to ensure that all those words on the page become a reality in the lived experiences of our kids. So. Thank you.
There's a lot of comments. There are a lot of comments. I'm going to ask Michael, who is backstage right now, if there are any questions, if you guys notice any that we should answer now, just go ahead and pop it up on the screen and we can see if we can answer it. Wow. This has been, for me, an amazing experience. It's the first time in what I saw last week at LCAP, or just in the last few weeks, I've never seen that type of progress in the community. And kind of going back to just the things that everyone was saying about the key engagement, working with our heart, and the legal system, I really believe that is why we were able, and building relationship is why we were able to push things forward the way that we have. So here is a question, and I know we only have a few more minutes, so we can do a couple questions, and then I would like to bring our CDF fellow, Michael, and intern in. So let's go ahead. Can anyone answer this question? Oh, this is a good one. I don't know. This may even be I don't know if we have anyone here who can answer the question.
I can partially answer the question. I don't know the specifics of Webster Elementary, but I can tell you that Prop 227, which banned bilingual education programs in the 90s and was part of a slew of racist, nativist things that happened at that time in California.
Uh-oh. Nicole, you froze. Uh-oh.
We can wait for her to come back, but I think what she was going to say is that there is another proposition that passed, I think in 2018, that overturned 227, which I think was like Prop 56. Don't quote me. So there should be actually a lot more possibility and resources from the California Department of Education to fund bilingual education, dual immersion. Go ahead, Nicole. I was just saying that maybe what you were going to say was that, was it Prop 56 or 58 that overturned 227?
Yeah, honestly, I can't remember the number, but yeah, it overturned 227. So what that should have done is opened up the doors for many more bilingual programs, including dual immersion programs. So there's no legal bar on it anymore. I'm not sure what's happening in terms of Long Beach specifically and how they're allocating funds for that. But that's definitely something to go out and advocate for and be engaged about. I don't know if anyone here has more knowledge of the specifics in Long Beach.
Well, that's.
Can I just add that it's really another equity fight. Like speaking Spanish or any language, Tagalog. At school used to be so vilified. It's like what caused 227 to pass, and now you have dual immersion, but it's like those students who speak Spanish or another language in their home are probably the least likely to get that academic instruction in their schools, in the high need schools. And so it's another equity fight we really have to fight.
Any more comment on what's next before we pull in? We have a question.
If I may add.
How do I join?
If I may add, one of the things that I think I don't know if we've touched on, but is understanding where you reside, your school district, and getting in touch with your school board member. I think in part, the next steps is the monitoring and implementation, but also ensuring that you know who's at the table, who's representing you, and what information, or we would like to call ground truthing information, you're relaying to the board members so that they know what's happening at your school site. I think so often we get information, sometimes by mail or by, when it's election season. But we need to start to, as parents, really, and community stakeholders, listen to those board meetings and see what is being addressed by your school board member. Are they in touch with the realities that your children are, or challenges that your children are facing? And I think those kinds of conversations need to happen, and we need to continue to bring in more parents. I think the question is, how do I join? I think having that conversation of, at your school site, where is it that I can participate? Is it the school site council? Where is it at the district level? Where do I know my board member? Civic engagement is so important at this stage, and especially if we're trying to ensure that the funds the district has received, like I said, over 400 million in total, 1.1 billion, Nicole, was that correct? In funds, that's a lot of money, and it's up to us to really ensure that our students are receiving what they need.
Thank you, Mariela. Martha has entered the stage. Yay! So I'm gonna thank you, Martha, for joining us. Martha has been a champion in this work. She was, out of all of us, I mean, CDF and Martha, Latinos in Action, were signers on that settlement. And like I said, one thing that I believe without that action taking place, we would have not made the accomplishments that took place last week during that LCAP budget. So I'm going to pass this over to Martha. Martha, you speak how you feel comfortably. If we want to do, if you want to speak in Spanish and someone wants to translate, the floor, the stage is yours. So what I would like you to do, tell people who you are, tell them how you're connected to this work, and then any other message that you want to share. I know you've been listening to us. Go ahead and just drop some knowledge on us. And then we'll bring in Michael and Jaden, and then we'll go ahead and close us out. You have to unmute, Martha.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Marta Cota from Latinos in Action, California. I'm very proud to be part of this wonderful, wonderful group. I start with this time because I have a lot of history for parents and for my own kid, but I see 30 years before, and it's the same now when many things my children have problems on the system. And for me, always I'm looking for equity and justice for all the kids. When we have to make I don't want to say it's a complaint. It's a complaint with a Long Beach Unified District. I say yes, because when I go in the bus or a boat, we need to go together, fighting on the same time, on the same vision. When people say I'm here for the kids, it's because you're here for the kids. I don't like when the people say I'm here for the kids, but you put your seat back and don't say nothing and don't put your signature. When you don't say nothing about it, whatever reason you have it, I don't care. But if you in that same boat, in the same bus, take action. If no, I think bye-bye to the people, okay? And that's very proud when Children for California, Public Advocate and Latinos in Action California put that face for all the kids. I'm proud to do this. And when people ask me, you don't have a problem with a district or something, I have some, I don't know that word, Angie.
Represalias?
Represalias.
Retaliation.
I don't care, because I'm here to put my face for the kids. Put a face for the family who they think they don't have power. we need to say, you have the power. Now, I'm sorry, I have parents in the other computer, because now they are learning about how advocate for the kids. Because not always Latinos in Action or Jarlene or Mariela or Lilian is in the same time. They need to do something on their own power. That's why I'm very proud to be here. I don't know if I need to say more, but the only thing is to find equity and justice for education for all the kids. I don't care what race, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Martha. And like I said, she's got another computer going with parents right now. So she's
Yes.
like always in the grind. So
Yes.
I appreciate you. I know we've been sitting at the table for over a decade together. And like I said, this is the first time I've seen this advancement in the community. So I appreciate you. I salute you. Thank you. I'm going to pull in. Does anyone else want to say anything for Martha? To Martha? Go ahead. Go ahead.
Gracias, Marta.
All right. Can I say another thing, Yarlene?
Yes.
Sometimes people is shy like me to talk in English, not in Spanish. Okay, because you know the English is not good, because I don't speak good English. But I said to the parent, I don't care if you don't speak a good English. The thing is, you speak both, you're bilingual. Many people, they speak only one language, and we try to have the second language. And when you fight, excuse me, when you fight for the kids, I don't care if the English is good. The people, they don't understand everything, but you try. That's why I'm trying to speak in English, because it's so important to the people. Say, like parents night and the other computer. I said, don't worry. You speak, and the people know you fight for your kids.
Thank you, Martha. I know, and Lilia, who dropped off. I've watched Lilia over the years, and how entering into space, she was a monolingual speaker, and now, so I appreciate it, and thank you. And I believe, just in this work, we always have to create space. Language should never be a boundary for us. That's my message to other people in the community. Language should never be a boundary for us. Thank you, Martha. So I have pulled in, I know we're running up on time. We're actually a little bit over, yet I wanted to pull in Michael, CDF fellow, and Jaden, intern at Public Advocates. We've talked about some of the roles that CDF and PA has played in the community, but one thing that they've done over the years, they've always created space and opportunities for other people to grow. They're training us, they're teaching us, they're guiding us, but they also have these amazing young people. And I could say young people because my oldest is like very close to their ages, my oldest child. I just wanted to give space for both Michael and Jaden. Jaden recently joined us in this work. Michael joined us last year. They have been providing support throughout this work, and have been analyzing data and information and editing and prepping. And so I just wanted to grant some space for them to be able to say hello, tell us just a little bit about yourself, what your future goals are, and then we're going to close out where I would like to everyone to just share a message of what they believe is next. So let's go, Michael and Jaden.
Hi, everybody. I'm Michael. I'm an Education Equity Fellow at Children's Defense Fund, California. My pronouns are he and his. And I've been very grateful, like Angie and Nicole both said, very grateful and very lucky to be part of this process, to be involved. And I'm lucky that I get to start my career at the place where I'm actually working with stakeholders who have that level of interest. And that's where I wanted to reach, like Nicole had said as well, and I'm just very grateful. So looking forward in the future, my goal is to work with communities and advocacy spaces and to help them, especially in the education space. And I'll pass it to Jaden.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Jaden. I use she, her pronouns, and I am a law student right now. I live in LA, and I am interning on the educational equity team at Public Advocates. And I am so grateful to be here because a lot of my long-term goals align with the mission of Public Advocates. And I think that their entire strategy of working with communities and uplifting community voices and being lawyers who use their platform and their expertise to be able to move along the work that people have already been doing in a way that is humble, in a way that is edifying, and in a way that is, in solidarity with others who, again, like have already been here, have been working on this for so long. I think that's amazing. And that's what I hope to be able to do with my career as well. And I also really admire both the attorneys that I work with and Public Advocates as an organization, because they're not just focused on winning the issues today and getting, the dub, like in whatever issue we're currently focused on, but their goals are largely about how do we actually uplift, empower, and strengthen entire communities. And so while our work is for the children and we do it for the kids, we also do what we do thinking about what is the long-term ripple effect of investing in our youth and making our communities stronger and better for everybody. And I think that's also where I feel really grateful that I'm a person that they're investing in, even if I'm only here for a summer or however long. It's really clear that they're working on making me the best advocate I can be in the future and preparing me as someone who's going to also be a partner in this work in this future. So I'm really grateful for this experience.
Well, thank you. I want to say I absolutely love your energy. You are better than a cup of coffee. So thank you. Would anyone else like to say anything to Michael and Jaden before we transition into our closing?
Just thank you both for being in this work with us.
Okay. Thank you, everyone who has joined us today. If you're watching this later, please put replay in the comments. Make sure that you share, like, react, ask us questions. Oh, thank you for posting that right now, Michael. We will make sure that we share some information out. And I'm going to go do a round. We're going to start with Nicole and move across. Wait, do you have something else to say, Kim, before we? Okay.
Nope, go ahead.
Okay. Nicole, what do you see for our future? Or what's your vision? Or what is your final message? You get to choose.
I think I already saw it. I think it's about implementation, and I'm really looking forward to making all of these promises real and working with everyone here and everyone out there to make that, a reality. Mm-hmm.
Kim.
Sorry, I didn't know I was next. Before I say that, first, I really want to give a shout out to the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion PTA team that I'm also a part of that's done tremendous work this past year to interrupt racism, right, and encourage schools to start a DEI community committee with their PTA on their school sites. It's a group of parents of all races, and we've been meeting monthly for over a year, digging in deeper into seeding ways we can continue to interrupt racism and white supremacy in our Long Beach schools, right, with care. And it's more of a call in than a call out. So I really want to give it up to those parents that have been doing that work for the past year, because we need to attack this on all fronts, right? We need to, this being racism. And if I can leave the listeners with one message, I really want folks to recognize that Black and Brown students are severely suffering academically, and say something, right? It's a see something, say something attitude, right? Hold folks accountable. Ask questions of your school. Now, I wouldn't even say your district, of your school, right? Let's not take the district at this point. Let's just talk about your school. Whatever school you're in, demand to see what's going on. How are the dollars being spent? Are there ways in which you're encouraging Black and Brown kids to bring up their grades, right? Are there specific reading programs for ESL learners? Just ask for some data. So as a parent, as a teacher, as a staff, as an administrator, I would hope that you value the success of all students, not just the ones you know. So my closing comment is this quote that I love from Gwendolyn Brooks that I've shared a lot. We are each other's harvest. We are each other's business. We are each other's magnitude and bond. We need each other. We're in this together. Thank you.
We lost Lily again. Mariela.
I wasn't ready, but I'll go ahead. You know, so much of our city, I often hear people say, we celebrate the diversity in our city. And my question to everyone, and what I will leave this message is, what are you doing to ensure that that diversity remains in background and in thought process? You know, we have to invest in our children. I am as a Parks Commissioner, I'm a huge believer in recreational educational opportunities. Education is a great equalizer. So I'm in this work because I care about the next generation. And it's not just my children, it's the future. And so it's a pleasure and a joy to hear and have Jaden and Michael participate in this work, but also see my munchkin, who you all have seen sometimes at board meetings, because they're the next, you know, that's who we're leaving it to. And I think we need to not only celebrate diversity, but also invest in the diversity and partake. It's important for all of us to participate in this work. So my calling and ask for everyone who's listening is, if you have the time, and even if you don't have the time, put in the work, because our kids are in need of it. Thank you.
Let's do Angie, Lilia, and then Martha.
So many beautiful things have already been said. I'll just say, come talk to us. Let's work in solidarity together. Let's build bridges. Let's imagine what's not there. Much more is possible than sometimes we see at first. So looking forward to continuing our work together.
Okay, it looks like Lilia popped off again. Martha?
I would like to say to the district, we're partners, we're not enemies. I want to say to the community, don't be shy, fight for your kids. I want to say to everyone, politician, to say, put your eyes on the kids, invest the money on education, and I think it's the best one to have education justice. Thank you.
Lilia, last words.
Yes, I want to thank the group for all the support, for inviting me to participate, and for parents, please get engaged, especially if you are a monolingual parent, and always ask for your right to have language justice, to have access to language, and advocate for your English learner kid, and of course, for all the students, not only ours, but all the kids. Like everybody has said, they are our future. What are we doing with our future? Are we supporting enough? And I like what one of you said. All our kids, not only mine, all. And if you have the time, if you know, find it and do it. It is so satisfying to see what we accomplished on our group, and that's it. Thank you.
Thank you to everyone, to all of you. You all know I love you, so that's just all I have to say about that. I look forward to celebrating with you all very soon. The work that we've put in this last year and the last 3 years and the years before that. So thank you for everyone that's watching. It's been Talking the Town with Jerlene, talking about education advocacy here in Long Beach. Goal is to inform, engage, and inspire. I hope that this conversation has done some of those things for you this morning. I know I have been informed by these wonderful people that I'm looking at right now. And because of them, I'm engaged, and they constantly keep me inspired. So if you're watching this later, please share, please comment, please react so that this message can go far. Our work is not done. You will hear more from us. One way that you can keep up with some of our work is you can follow Facebook page, Long Beach Education Connection. I'll make sure that there's a link placed in the comments of this feed. We will take the time to go through the Facebook questions to respond. Again, thank you to everyone. Can everyone that's here in the studio stay for just a moment as I end the broadcast?